Now let's look at a couple of these methods and we'll use some examples to go over them. So in average accounting return, here's an example where it says we have a machine that costs $90,000 to buy. It's going to last 3 years and will be depreciated using the straight line depreciation method. So essentially equally each year. And then the net income that we have from the machine after depreciation is as follows. And it's asking what's the average accounting return for this project. So the average accounting return is equal to the average net income divided by the average book value of the asset. Okay, so the average net income is going to be fairly easy to get. So we're just going to add the incomes that we are given and then take the average. So the first income was negative 6,000. So they had a loss in the year one. Then they had 18,000 as a profit and then 48 as a profit. And this happened over 3 years. So the average net income is 20,000 per year. Now, what about the average book value? The average book value is going to be based on the after depreciation amount. So let's do it this way. We will write the four periods or 4 measurement times. Okay, so when we buy the asset, it is worth $90,000. And at the end of the year, we depreciate it, so it's worth $60,000. And what I did here was basically I took the 90,000 asset value divided by the 3 years of straight line depreciation, so it works out to 30,000 per year. So every year it's going to fall by 30,000, and you can see at the end it's going to be worth 0. So the average book value is equal to all 4 of those numbers, 60, 90, 30, and 0 at the very end, divided by 4. And that works out to an average of, let's see, what is that? 45,000. So now we can essentially say that the average, if I go back up here to the top, net income was 20,000 and the average book value was 45,000. Then my accounting return is 44.4% based on that. Now again, this is pure accounting, no cash flow involved here because we've included depreciation. So it's not a cash flow scenario. Now let's look at a cash flow method of evaluating a project, and this one is the payback period, and we're going to look at the discounted payback as well on the same example. So the example says we require an initial investment of $500,000, and the cash flows during the life of the project, its 4-year life, are going to be as follows. So what's the payback period? And the payback period is answering the question, how long does it take to recover the investment? Okay, and the second part is what's the discounted payback period? And it's answering the same question except it's including the time value of money. So this will adjust for time value of money. Okay, and that's important on long projects. So let's start the first one, which is a simpler calculation. And we're just really going to go through and list it off by year. Okay, so we're going to have 4 years of cash flow, and the goal is that we want to try to get the $500,000 back. And the first year we get 125, then we get 180, then we get 220, and we get 240. So if I look at the cumulative cash flow, that's going to be the relevant number. So if I keep adding from the beginning of the project to the current year, how long or how much did I recover? At the end of year one, it's going to be the 125,000 that we earned. At the end of year two, it'll be the 125 plus the 180, so the 305. And then add 220 for the end of year three, we get 525. So you can see I've already recovered the 500. I don't need to do the last one, but let's do it anyways. 765. So right here is the break even, or the payback. And if I was to put that on a visual scale or a timeline, it would be as such. Okay, so at the end of year one, we get 125,000. At the end of year two, we have recovered 305. And then at the end of year three, 525,000. So if I had to just sort of ballpark it, I know that the payback is going to be closer to year three. Okay, so that's where the 500,000 will occur. So how far away is that after year two? That's going to be 195,000. Okay, so what I'm saying there is at the end of year two, we had 305,000 generated. To get to 500, we needed to do 195 more. And how much did we do in the full year for the year three? We did the 220. So the difference between those two numbers. So I can conclude that the payback period it's going to be 2 years for sure, because it's definitely after two, plus it's going to be a portion of the third year. And the portion is going to be this fraction, 195 over 220. And that works out to 2.89 years. So it takes 2.89 years to recover the investment.